The more you go into your own healing, into your own sense of safety, the more you become aware of what it actually means to live in a relaxed and healed nervous system. Because most of us have been grown up in an environment that was not 100% safe in terms of emotions, in terms of speaking your truth, and in being fully authentic all the time. And this fact has actually a lot to do with the generations before us. And in this series, I want to share with you what helped me to really heal my nervous system, because yes, there were wounds that I had to heal from, that I had to acknowledge, and that I had to feel. And your nervous system has a lot to do with your inner child, because your nervous system is developed at the time when you're an infant, when you're a little child, and when you keep growing in your childhood. So you have to see yourself as the childlike version. It's like a spoon, and you take up everything from your environment. As a child, you are very pure, you are very connected, and you're authentic because you are pure love. That's why you literally can say your childlike version is the most connected version that is connected to God, because it's so pure, it has no ego yet. Therefore, when we, as a woman, we want to heal our nervous system, there's a direct correlation to this inner child. Your nervous system as a woman is the place within you that feels safe, that is present, and that is very, very warm in terms of energy. You can connect to that, and it's literally like your whole body feels warm and soft, and it's expansion. It comes close to the term of when a mother is really nurturing the child, not only giving the child milk, but like this love, this safety, this connectedness. And when we look at our parents, when we look at the generations before us, so from my perspective, I grew up in Germany. My grandma, she grew up in war. Like, you have to imagine my grandma, she played outside with a neighbor, and a bomb hit that other neighbor's roof, and they left this earth. And growing up with that does something to your nervous system. And why is it so important when you start healing your own nervous system? Start looking not only into your own life, but start looking into the lives of your parents and your grandparents. Because there's this beautiful, beautiful series on Netflix. I think it's called It Didn't Start With You, or that might be the book it's based on. I'm gonna put it right in here. This is such a beautiful and so authentic series, which you should watch. It's very nice, conscious watching of like deep inherent trauma, which affects the way our parents relate to us. And if you have to see, like, the generations before us, they never could heal because that was not normal, or there was no room for it. Healing always needs room. Healing always brings like this sense of, okay, I'm actually allowed to feel. I'm actually allowed to release. And if there's no room, you stay in a pattern of functioning. And how does this express in daily life? When I realized that, when I purged that, when I was releasing that, I became aware that, for example, tiny things. When I would take a break, I was self-employed, I was personal trainer, I would have such a bad feeling about taking a break, because in my nervous system there was like, I have to function, I cannot take a break. Or when I was preparing dinner, I was doing that very fast and I had no patience. I could not slow down and relax. I had to function. I had to really function. And when I really realized that pattern was during my university time when I studied, because it is such an demanding task out of the brain. Like if you study, like literally study, if you're doing a bachelor, that has nothing to do with feeling, with connecting to your emotions. It's literally mind-based. And that was depleting my energy. Like it was literally sucking out my life force energy. But at that time, I could not put it into perspective. But with my awakening, with my own awakening, I realized I was holding on to a lot of functioning, fight, flight, or especially freeze. I would have these kind of knocked out, like in presence. I would become like kind of disassociating with the situation. And I would realize, okay, wait a second, that's actually not really healthy. Like, why am I doing that? And it would be related back to my childhood and of course, to the people I grew up with. So putting yourself into perspective with the people you grew up, you get an understanding of, oh, wow, they were actually living in survival. There was no space for thinking about what are actually my emotions telling me. So if you are on your healing journey, it is a huge privilege to feel, to connect back to yourself, to do the shadow work, to really be honest with yourself and say, hey, the way we have lived no longer works. We are safe now. We don't need to survive. We are here to thrive. We are here to be creative and be present and be lovable and love, and not to survive. So coming to that perspective and realizing, okay, now actually there's space, there's room, there are people that are allowing healing, there are people that, that are taking part of healing, that is actually healthy and that is very good. For you to heal your own nervous system, first of all, you have to bring awareness. You have to bring awareness to the way you literally are during the day. How are you, being with people? Is it that you really want to finish a conversation? You want to run away? It feels uncomfortable to be? Or can you really ease in and be and relax and kind of just being present and not be in a functional state? So for the feminine, how does it look if you're like in a dysregulated state? This is like the indicators that if you are more in a dysregulated state. And again, this is for awareness that you are like reflecting on yourself. Okay, how am I actually feeling when I'm like in line and I'm paying, or when I'm in front of people, when people looking at me? What does it do to my nervous system? Do I feel safe? Do I feel judged? So what is going on here? If you are in a conversation, an emotional conversation, is there a part that just wants to run away? Can you ease in? Do you feel comfortable with it? So healing has a lot to do with coming back to that awareness in every tiny little moment. How do you feel? There's also a huge indicator, passive aggressive behavior. And it really is like this, especially when you live with a partner. And if you do things in a way that's kind of aggressive, like you clean and you be like, because your needs might be not seen or heard or met, that's a huge indicator for dysregulation, where you feel unease. So an unregulated nervous system always says, like, I shrink in, I freeze, I fight, flight, or dawn. So that is like the indication, whereby a regulated nervous system, really this calm, you can feel that in people's presence. When someone has a calm and regulated nervous system, it's like they take up space, and it's like you wanna kind of relax and feel so safe in it. You kind of let go of your own shield. You kind of ease and relax, because you can feel that their presence is not demanding but expanding. Like, they want you to relax, and they have nothing they project onto you, rather they simply are. And because they are, you can be and relaxed. So if you feel like a person with a healed and regulated nervous system, it's almost like there is nothing defensive. Like, that person is talking in a way, and more importantly, their presence is so calming and just so relaxed. You wonder a little bit. You wonder, why is this person so relaxed? Why is it so calming? Because it's their nervous system, and energy always speaks. Energy is what is beneath words, and most importantly, what is beneath body language. That's why you can also feel a relaxed person, a healed person, in the way they carry their own body. They are very conscious, but also loving, and not in a way of, oh, how do I look? How do I need to behave? It's a very natural and flowy rhythm they act in. It's not acting, it's actually natural being. So, but why is it, that was my question, why is it that we live in a world where it seems to be normal that we are constantly in a state of doing and functioning? And again, that has a lot to do with our ancestors, where it was needed. Like, when you are in war, there is no room for feeling your emotions, for expressing your needs, because you're literally surviving. And we can put that into perspective with other countries. If we look more into the Eastern world, we can see literally countries that are living in survival. There is no room for, oh, who am I actually? What do I actually want to do with my life? There is literally no room for these questions, because their level of awareness is so much suppressed on survival. And you have to think like that. If you have no money to live, and you don't know how to pay for food, you don't think about, oh yeah, what are my emotions? Like, what do I actually want to feel? You think about, how am I gonna get the next meal? So it's very primitive, it's very survival. That's why healing the nervous system is a huge step of our own collective healing. And if you are in this state, it is already like a responsibility for you to hold that, to nurture that, to stay connected to the groundedness, because when you are in that safe space within yourself, you are like a beautiful, warm, sun-like energy to the people around you. And it always starts within yourself. The safety, this groundedness, it cannot be given by the outside people. I know there's a huge desire, because that's most of the time the inner child that really wants to be seen and nurtured. But you are now the adult that is carrying that child and that is seeing that child. It's not the other way around, that the people around you reflect that. That comes when you embody that person from within. So on this path, when you grow, when you heal, when you realize, yeah, I was actually really operating out of fear, out of resentment, maybe out of an energy, I have to. And now coming back to that, I actually, I don't have to do anything. I'm a human being and not a human doing. And if you feel that in your nervous system, that is truth, and that is pure presence. There's nowhere to go, just to be. And that is the main statement out of a healed nervous system, because you are connected and you're grounded, and no matter where you are, you're exactly right where you are. You don't have to go anywhere. And it's so beautiful. So it's not so much, again, it's not so much about the how. How do I heal? How do I let go? The healing automatically comes when you sink into that part that wants to be held. That when you sink into that part, okay, wait, instead of running away and not looking at my pain, maybe I stay with myself. Maybe I just look at it, not from judgment, but from empathy. Because that's what we would do with little children. We would hug them and just be with them. That's why we also say it's so beautiful if someone is just with you and you can be in your own process. So come more back to that state of realizing, okay, not so much about how do I do it, because that's like this functioning, like what do I have to do, and come back about being. Like healing is again, it's not like a list you have to check. It's actually letting go of a lot of things. It's actually of letting go of many things you think you need in order for you to ease in to your own safety. So that is what I wanted to give you, not so much chasing about the next solution, how to heal, how to do, but more ease into the presence. There is already a lot coming up when you are just be. I mean, for most people, it's almost impossible to do a week without social media, because there's such an attachment to the outside, but the true safety really comes from being with yourself. I love you so much, and I wish you a beautiful week, and I see you in the next video.